Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Elena Fox Starks. Guys, do you feel it? We have now just entered the golden age of light. I feel it. I can't 100% describe what it is, but I'm sensing other levels of everybody and everything around me to a really intense degree. The Schumann resonance was relatively calm, not what I expected, but now I realize I know the energy is coming from several sources, not just one. It's not coming from the earth, it's coming from the sun and the earth and us as we progress in this, our human evolution. According to disclosure.it, it says, today was a calm day. The only two peaks that are reported were 15 hertz and they occurred around 7. And they each lasted, I guess, about an hour, that's pretty cool. It lasted that long, but I don't know. I mean, have you noticed the sun is brighter? About 2 days ago, the sun got excessively bright. And it's gotten brighter in the last 2 days. Now, I wasn't even up when the sun was out for the last few days, but today there was so much energy that I couldn't even go to sleep until about 9:25 a.m. I was up all night just absorbing this energy and trying to channel it and trying to, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, but my body knows what it's doing. I pull in the energy, I hold the light, and I dissipate it slowly through the earth, through my feet, chakras, and it goes into the earth and the healing grid, and I'm like a keeper of the light, or holder of the light, I guess, and I'm a grid worker. That much I know. It's all pretty crazy and confusing. I mean, there are people that are portal openers, there are gatekeepers who guard the portals, keep them stable and safe, I guess. I mean, I've been hearing a lot of different things, what people are saying, what their jobs are. As we progress, we all get to see our point of light in it. And speaking of points of light, Dr. Kelly Bennett and Cheryl, or Charlie Romney Brown, are moving in a week to Mexico, and I got to say goodbye to them today. Sweetest people in the world. They've been in Ecuador, here in Cuenca, where I live, for a couple of years now, I guess. And as they told me today, they said, we wrote 4 books here, and that was the energy that was needed for those books. As you recall, a couple days ago, I did an episode called The Ascension Perspective, Rise Above the Chaos of Life. That's the name of their book. If you haven't heard it, go listen to it. It's the book is worth having, and the information is, it's intense. It takes a while to digest it, but it's worth knowing. It will help you along your evolutionary phase quicker. It makes life a little easier. I was already kind of doing half of what it said, and then the book kind of gave me the other half of what I needed to evolve faster, so it's pretty cool. But they're moving up to Mexico, and they said, we don't even know what the nature of our work is. We follow spirit. So it was good to hear that. I follow spirit too. It's why I live in Ecuador now. So I went to Peru, and I was stuck for a year and a half there. I thought I was only going to be there 3 months. But when I got there was so much healing that needed to be done that my divine higher self said, no, you got to stay here. Heal the land, heal the animals, and whatever people come in your path, heal them. But for me, it was mostly about the animals. I mean, that's what I was told. Dogs would run right up to me and I would put my hands on them. Cats would be waiting at my door when I came home. They'd come in and cuddle with me all night and get healed by my energy. One dog, I gave enough energy so he could die. He was old and it was his time, and he had hardly any energy at all, and I gave him energy and he had a lot more energy. Like his owner said, "Oh, he's like a puppy." And I went, "Oh God." I knew what that meant. Sometimes you need enough energy to die because you got to pop out of that body, and it takes extra. It's something I had done for my own father. I gave him Reiki energy, and I thought at the time, unwittingly, I thought I was helping him get better, and I was just giving him enough of the energy he needed to pop out of his body consciously. I live and learn, but it's okay because I give energy where I'm told to do it. You know, when you're a servant of the divine, that's how it happens sometimes. But I don't know, guys. The word zero has come a lot to me in the past 2 to 3 days. Zero latitude. I live at 0 latitude, Ecuador, equilibrium, Libra, equilibrium, equality. And I have been pulling in massive amounts of energy, and it's been so intense that last night I took a shower and I had to turn the hot water off. I was standing beneath not even lukewarm, just cold, not cold, but cool water. Not ice cold, but just cool water. And the whole time, I mean, it was cold outside, cold, wet, rainy outside, cold in my apartment, but I didn't feel it because I have so much energy coming through me right now. And I stood beneath this cool water and I didn't even get a chill. I got out of the shower, and you know how you get out of the shower and you walk out of the bathroom and you feel cold? I didn't feel it. I didn't even feel cold. I still felt so hot. Felt like I wanted to go back and take a colder shower, but I knew it wasn't going to help because it's energy. And then I started thinking today about 0 point energy and Greg Braden's work. It's a good book, by the way, if you want to go look at it. I can't tell you what's in it. It's been years since I read it. I read it when it first came out. And then I started thinking about Richard Hoagland and 19.5 degrees. Hawaii sits at 19.5 degrees, and there's all kinds of stuff going on there. 19.5 degrees of the planet. And what they discovered, what NASA discovered years and years ago, was that the Earth is putting out way more energy than it is taking in. Somehow I feel that I'm doing the same thing. And I'm not the only one. I feel that we're all maybe doing the same thing right now. Do you guys feel it? Do you guys feel the extra energy? Let me know. Send me a message at anchor.fm/metaphysical if you feel that. But, you know, the number 0, it's really been on my mind a lot. Like 2 or 3 days, I'm still contemplating more. There might be more to it. But I started thinking about the 0 card, the Fool. The Fool in the tarot is 0. And the concept of 0 is, well, mathematically or as a number, came to us from the Guatemalans, the Mayans, that inhabited Lower Mexico and Guatemala in the Mayan Empire. We wouldn't even have, you can't even have $1 million without 6 zeros behind a 1. And if it wasn't for those intelligent Mayans, we wouldn't not even have that as a concept. But in the Holy Tarot, the 0 is It symbolizes God. It's the no thing. Zero is nothing, but it's the no thing. And from nothing comes something, as you know. Even in the center of God, you'll find a zero or an O. It looks like a zero. There's nothing wrong with being a zero. You're an ultimate creator and you have the whole world before you. I don't know, guys. Zero's it's been in my mind for 2 or 3 days. The zero card is the fool, and the fool starts along his path, and he doesn't know where he's going. He only knows that he's filled with the light of God. That's why in the Rider-Waite deck, the sky is not blue. No. It's yellow. Why is it yellow? Because it's a golden light of the one will of the divine. He's still in heaven, starting on his journey. And I feel that we're in the golden age. We just got there and we are starting on our journey. So we are back to zero. Today is day zero. We're moving forward on this journey. And I'm filled with cosmic radiation, cosmic light right now. I feel it. Do you guys feel it? Are you vibrating? I'm vibrating so fast that my body is just generating this constant source of heat. I was out in the rain today thinking I was going to be cold, and I was just too hot. I'm like, I can't even wear my coat. And all I had was a sweatshirt. I had a t-shirt on and just a hoodie, a normal hoodie. You have to understand, usually in this kind of weather, I'm outside with mittens and a scarf and a hat. And even though it's not snow on the ground, I'm usually very susceptible to cold. And now I'm not. I don't know. Are you guys going through this? Do you feel it too? A lot of people are feeling it, noticing it. And if you're not tuned into it, take a few deep breaths and see what's different. What's different in your world? It might just be psychological or mental. I feel more positive today. I mean, the last couple days have been really positive, but today, quite a bit more. I had a little bit of anxiety because I was like, did it happen? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Feel like a little kid in the back of the car. Are we there yet, Dad? Or God is the dad, of course. But I feel also today I came into a greater understanding and awareness of myself. And if it hasn't happened for you yet, I know it's going to. We're all on the same evolutionary path, basically. I looked in the mirror and I looked into my eyes this morning, and normally I just it's kind of a, oh, hello, whatever. Today I saw myself in a much different light. I knew I was standing in my own sovereign power. I knew today that I am a queen of my own energy, of my own kingdom. And I have my own sovereign power on a level that I never had it before. And that happened today. I also feel that my twin flame is coming into his own finally as his own sovereign power as a king. And like today is the day that he stops seeking outside of himself for other people's approval. Because that's what I did. And it wasn't, I don't know how to explain it other than now for years I've always thought, for the past few years I've thought, no, I'm not gonna worry about what other people think about me anymore. For about 8 or 9 years, maybe even 10, I've been consciously making an effort to not care what other people think. But today, everything became completely irrelevant, except for the fact that I am my own sovereign power as a soul. I don't know. I feel like I stepped into a new level of relationship with divine today. And I feel like I stepped into a new relationship with myself. And now I'm ready, completely ready to step into relationship with my twin flame. But I saw a video on Gold Ray Twin Flames YouTube channel, and they are excellent. In fact, I just on this video said, I mention you on my podcast all the time, guys. Because they're probably one of the only twin flame related channels out there that have actual, real, true metaphysical knowledge, real information, not super flighty, I don't know, just most of the twin flame channels, they're not even twin flame people. Like, they don't, I don't know. I mean, who's to say? They think they are, but it seems to me like a lot of these channels are just putting out fake information or false information. They think it's real, I don't know. But Gold Ray Twin Flames, they're the real deal. So he was saying that there comes a time in which you step into your own maturity in a new level, in a new octave of who you are. And it's almost like, and then also Amber White was also saying something about this as well. Not about twin flames specifically, but she was saying that, you hold like a space in your heart for the other. But now suddenly, during this equinox, where equilibrium and balance is being achieved in 0 degrees Libra, we are to kick the other person out of our heart, basically, and become our own sovereign person. And we are filling it with our own divine light and our own power, so that when we do come together with that person, they're going to be an individual, you're going to be an individual, and you walk forward together as individuals in unison, rather than giving half your heart away to them and they give half their heart away to you. And then there's like this weird codependent relationship thing that's going on. And every relationship is like this. And in soulmates, it's a little, and if you meet someone who you never knew in a past life, it's just, it happens. But then in soulmates, it happens a little stronger. And then in twin flames, it's a whole different ballgame. But there's something different. I don't know how to describe it. I don't think that I'm the only one. I don't think I'm the only one experiencing this strength. It's an inner strength, but it's a divine strength. It's coming from divine. Probably that 0 point energy. It's pouring into us right now. I feel the energy and the light of the sun pouring into my heart chakra like you would not believe. It's filling up my body and expanding my aura. Out, out, out. I walk outside and people from across the street turn their heads. They feel my energy. And I've noticed it when I ask. There could be like no one on the road, and I ask God, please send me a taxi driver that is going to be, spiritually aware or in tune with you and will treat me fairly. I got a guy today that the minute I got in the car, had been listening to the news, and the minute I got in the car, he turned it over and listened to a female preacher talking about God and the divine light. It was a lecture in Spanish, but I could understand it, and it's pretty cool. I was like, yeah. And on his rearview mirror, he had like all of these. He had like 10 different necklaces of like crystals and seed beads from the jungle, which are positive energy. They have a very high vibrational energy. And they're like, it's funny because tourists buy these all the time and they wear them and they're poisonous. So the more you wear them, you could get sick from wearing them. But everyone buys them anyway because no one knows that they're poisonous. But if you just hang them up, the energy is super high vibe. They're like red beads with black dots on them. I got some when I was in the Peruvian jungle from the tribal people there. And it was very sweet. It was very sweet being there. But it was just cool. I mean, this is information, and I will go over this again later. Tonight is Throwback Thursday, and I'm taking already 20 minutes of your time without the throwback part. But God told me to give you guys a message today before we get into the story, the end of the magic story, part 3. From this day forward, everything you want is yours. You but need to ask for it. You say it out loud, and by your word, it is made so. By your logos, by your word, basically. So, for example, you want to have a relationship or money or friends, or you want to be put in touch with a club of people that maybe sit around and talk about intellectual subjects, or, biology club, or maybe an invention club, where you get together and invent cool things, gadgets, robots, whatever, or, it could be, technical club, or is like kind of the weird thoughts I was coming through when I was getting this. My kid was saying, I wonder if there's a club that would be full of intellectual people where I could meet on a mental plane with people. I'm like, oh yeah, so this is what God told me to tell him. And then God said, tell your audience too. Tell your listening audience this. So that's why I'm saying this. Anything that you want. You want a new pet. You want a new job. You want to work for yourself. You need a new house. And also, I got a message this morning in my inbox, in my email, from the Arcturian Council, or Arcturians, from Daniel Scranton. He channels them. And they said that they're now willing to work with anybody who wants to work with them. Whatever you want to do in your life, all you need to do is connect with them, ask them to help you, and they will help you get there. They will help you achieve everything that you want, as long as it's for the benefit and good of all humanity, all humankind, to raise and lift us all up. So whatever you want, you just have to match the vibration of that thing, focus on it, meditate, and then ask them to help you, and they will also put energy into it for you. How cool is that? Thanks, guys. All of heaven is waiting for you. All of heaven is here. You just have to reach out and pluck that golden apple off the tree. And this is a brave new world for you and for me. Now with that, I hope you enjoy part 3 of the magic story. Hey you, have you ever thought about having your own podcast like me? Was it even a New Year's resolution? For me, it sure was. But as I've been looking into this for months, I was daunted. There's so many questions I had. When I was trying to get this off the ground, I was wondering, how do I record the episode? How do I get it across all the platforms? How do I get my podcast on Apple Podcasts when I don't even have an iPhone? How do I get it onto Spotify and all the other places? How do I get people to listen? And how do I make money from my podcast? How do I edit it? Oh my God, I had all these questions, and I was so confused until I discovered The simple answer is Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free, and it is ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors too, so you can get paid to podcast. All you need to do is record it. You don't have to go out and look for people to advertise on your show. They help you. So basically what I like about podcasting is I don't have to have a video of myself. You don't know if my hair is dirty or if I'm still in my pajamas or even if I'm wearing makeup. Haha. And it's so easy. I could do this from the comfort of my own home in my living room using this amazing app right from my cell phone. So easy, right? So if you've always wanted to start your own podcast and make money, by the way, doing it, please go to anchor.fm/start. That is anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters that are already using Anchor. Again, that's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast, and I can't wait to favorite you. Woohoo! Let's be broadcast podcast buddies. I'll see you there. Welcome back. This is Elena Fox Starks. I'm your host today. I'm so happy you could join me for the conclusion to the magic story. This is the third part of a 3-part series, and I hope that you have enjoyed so far the first 2 parts. If you haven't heard them, you may listen to them at soulspeakradio.com. And where we are at in our story is the first half of the story was the discovery of the magic story. And the second half of the story is about an unknown author born in 1642. And pretty much he's at the end of his life and he's telling his life story. He's talking about all the ups and downs he has had to go through and his personal insights. And he decided to write them down for posterity. And in the 1900s, in fact, right before the year 1900, a man named Sturtevant, who was pretty much a bum, he had no money, he had 3 pennies in his pocket, walked into an antique store and happened to find this manuscript for the 3 pennies in his pocket. He purchased it, read the story, changed his life. Before he knows it, he's making $200 a week in Cuba taking photographs. This story changed not only his life, but every person who has heard this story. Their lives have been touched and changed. It is my hope that your life will also be changed by this amazing tale. So, without further ado, here's a conclusion to the magic story, part 2. Why do you pursue me? I next asked of the presence. You have pursued me, not I you. You can exist without me for a time, but your path leads downward and the end is death. Now that you approach the end, you debate if it be not politic that you should cleanse your house and invite me to enter. Step aside from the brain and the will. Cleanse them of your presence. Only on that condition will I ever occupy them again. The brain has lost its power, I faltered. The will is a weak thing. Now how can you repair them?
"Listen," said the presence, and he towered over me while I cowered abjectly at his feet. "To the plus entity of a man, all things are possible. The world belongs to him, is his estate. He fears not, dreads not, stops at naught. He asks no privileges, but demands them. He dominates and cannot cringe. His requests are orders. Opposition flees at his approach. He levels mountains, fills in valleys, and travels on an even plain where stumbling is unknown." Thereafter I slept again, and when I awoke, I seemed to be in a different world. The sun was shining, and I was conscious that birds twittered above my head. My body, yesterday trembling and uncertain, had become vigorous and filled with energy. I gazed upon the pyramid of casks in amazement that I had so long made use of it for an abiding place, and I was wonderingly conscious that I had passed my last night beneath its shelter. The events of the night recurred to me, and I looked about me for the presence. It was not visible, but anon I discovered, cowering in a far corner of my resting place, a puny, abject, shuddering figure, distorted of visage, deformed of shape, disheveled and unkempt of appearance. It tottered as it walked, for it approached me piteously. But I laughed aloud, mercilessly. Perchance I knew then that it was the minus entity, and that the plus entity was within me, albeit I did not then realize it. Moreover, I was in haste to get away. I had no time for philosophy. There was so much for me to do. Much. Strange it was that I had not thought of that yesterday. But yesterday was gone. Today was with me. It had just begun. As had once been my daily habit, I turned my steps in the direction of the tavern where formerly I had partaken of my meals. I nodded cheerily as I entered. I smiled in recognition of returned salutations. Men who had ignored me for months bowed graciously when I passed them on the thoroughfare. I went to the washroom and from there to the breakfast table. Afterwards, when I passed the tap room, I paused a moment and I said to the landlord, "I will occupy the same room that I formerly used if perchance you have it at disposal. If not, another will do as well until I can obtain it." Then I went out and hurried with all haste to the cooperage. There was a huge wain in the yard, and men were loading it with casks for shipment. I asked no questions, but seizing barrels began hurling them to the men who worked atop the load. When this was finished, I entered the shop. There was a vacant bench. I recognized its disuse by the litter on its top. It was the same at which I had once worked. Stripping off my coat, I soon cleared it of its impedimenta. In a moment more, I was seated, with my foot on the vice lever, shaving staves. It was an hour later when the master workman entered the room, and he paused in surprise at sight of me. Already there was a goodly pile of neatly shaven staves beside me, for in those days I was an excellent workman. There was none better. But alas, now age hath deprived me of my skill. I replied to his unasked question with a brief but comprehensive sentence. "I have returned to work, sir." He nodded his head and passed on, viewing the work of other men, albeit anon he glanced askance in my direction. Here endeth the sixth and last lesson to be acquired, although there is more to be said, since from that moment I was a successful man, and ere long possessed another shipyard, and had acquired a full competence of worldly goods. I pray you who read, heed well the following admonitions. since upon them depend the word success and all that it implies. Whatsoever you desire of good is yours. You have but to stretch forth your hand and take it. Learn that the consciousness of dominant power within you is the possession of all things attainable. Have no fear of any sort or shape, for fear is an adjunct of the minus entity. If you have skill, apply it. The world must profit by it, and therefore you. Make a daily and nightly companion of your plus entity. If you heed its advice, you cannot go wrong. Remember, philosophy is an argument. The world, which is your property, is an accumulation of facts. Go, therefore, and do that which is within you to do. Take no heed of gestures which would beckon you aside. Ask of no man permission to perform. The minus entity requests favors. The plus entity grants them. Fortune awaits upon every footstep you take. So seize her, bind her, hold her, for she is yours. She belongs to you. Start out now with these admonitions in your mind. Stretch out your hand, grasp the plus, which maybe you have never made use of, save in great emergencies. Life is an emergency most grave. Your plus entity is beside you now. Cleanse your brain, strengthen your will. It will take possession. It waits upon you. Start tonight. Start now upon this new journey. Be always on your guard. Whichever entity controls you, the other hovers at your side. Beware lest the evil enter, even for a moment. My task is done. I have written the recipe for success. If followed, it cannot fail. Wherein I may not be entirely comprehended, the plus entity of whosoever reads will supply the deficiency. And upon that better self of mine, I place the burden of imparting to generations that are to come the secret of this all-pervading good, the secret of being what you have it within you to be. The end.
Well, that's a pretty powerful story, right? If you've been listening for the past couple weeks and you feel the need, go on back and listen to the podcast the last 2 weeks from Throwback Thursday and hear the whole story together as a whole. It's pretty powerful. I mean, right? It's like 400 years later and it's still every bit as relevant today as it was 400 years ago. You know, what wolf are you feeding? The plus or the minus part of you? Which one are you feeding? I think from now on, though, aren't we all eating from the same golden tree? Plucking those golden pears and apples? I think from now on, we're all just plus. Everything is vibrating much higher. Tomorrow I will be back with another episode of Metaphysical Soul Speak, the podcast, an entirely original and unique show. I have no idea what it's going to be, though. Sometimes God reveals it to me in advance, and sometimes it's a last-minute thing. but I only follow the one will on this, so we're making it as high vibration as possible. I love each and every one of you, and I'm grateful that you're on this journey with me. That you're tuning into the podcast and riding the golden and white waves of light towards victory of your soul. But now, I'm signing off with peace and love and joy and the high vibes of the holy fifth dimension. Until next time, guys. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you.